Okay, this video is Module 1, Section 2, adding whole numbers, and we are going to concentrate this time on only objectives 1 and 2. And here are both of them. So objective 1, use mental math to add by composing or decomposing into tens, and I'll explain that. And objective 2, decompose a whole number. So first of all, you have 3 add problems there. Figure out how to do them in your head, if you can, and be ready to explain what you do. What I would suggest watching the video is to pause it right now and figure them out on your own so that you're actually learning as you go along instead of just listening. Okay? But now I'm going to show you a couple ways of doing it. Okay, so in your head, that's mental math, obviously. So 9 plus 15. How would we do that in our head? Okay, you could, and I'm going to write it out because I can't explain with gestures and facial expressions and whatever, so I'm just going to do it like this. This is how some of you probably did it in your head. You added 9 to 5. You got 14. Whoops. There we go. 14. And then a 2. That's kind of hard to do in your head, though. That's so many multiple steps. Okay? But I wouldn't doubt that some of you did. Okay? And I'll come back to the decomposing into tens stuff here. That'll explain what we're doing. Okay? The second one, 23 plus 34. You could put the 34 under the 23 and add those up. Or you could put the 23 under the 34. It doesn't matter. This one is a little bit easier because you don't have to carry anything. 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, so maybe you added these two and then you added these two. 57 on that one. Okay, and the last one, 27 add 14. This is another hard one. Okay, because it carries, not because it's hard. So 7 plus 4 is 11, and then 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So those are the correct answers, but you may not have done them in your head that way. Okay, let's do the middle one. Okay, composing or decomposing into tens. Well, this one, I'm not going to do it the same way that we did that one. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to break it into tens and ones, tens and ones. Okay, so now the two tens add together to give me 50, and the two ones add together and give me 7. So that one's going to be 57. Okay, just some tricks that you do in your head to make it a little bit easier when you add in your head. Technically, I don't think that is decomposing into tens or composing to tens, but it's using tens, the base tens. So I'm okay with that. All right, this next one, 27 plus 14, we're going to do it like the first one because 27 is pretty close to 30, right? So if I add 3 to it, I get 30, so I'm going to take the 3 away from the 14. So let's rewrite what we have. So I want 27 add 3. Now if I take the 3 away from the 14, I get 11, right? So now this part is 30. Add 11 is 41. Okay, so doing that in your head might be easier. It might not, but this is what they want you to understand in this section, is how to break things into tens. Okay, example 1, we're adding these using mental math by composing or decomposing into tens. So let's check and see how they did it. All right, this first one, you can see they kept the 8. And then they broke the 6 into 4 plus 2 because 8 plus 2 is the 10. Okay, so there's your 10. 4 comes down, and we get 14. Okay, now the second one, they have two different possibilities. And it's long, but don't freak out. Here we go. They just break it down a little bit further than I did. Okay, so this first part, they take the 28 and break it into 20 plus 8. Okay, like we did on the other one. And then the 4 just came down. Okay, now 8 is close to 10. So we're going to take the 2 away from the 4, so the 8 plus 2 is a 10. And now the 20 just comes down, because it's already a multiple of 10. Okay, so since we're taking 2 away from the 4, there's only 2 left now. So now we have the 20 that we started with. The 10 here is the 8 plus 2, and then the 2 just came down. So we have 20, 30, add 2, which is 32. Okay, now it's kind of hard because you're trying to do it in your head, but we have to write it down. So all of these steps are so long because we have to explain what you're doing in your head. Does that make sense? Okay, let me explain their second version here. Okay, so this is kind of weird, but it does make sense. Okay, so let's look at it. Do you agree that 2 minus 2 is equal to 0? Of course it is. So if I put a 0, so if I did 28 add 0 add 4, that's the same thing that we started with, right? Okay. So if I put this 0 in here, the reason I chose 2's is because 28 add 2 gives me the 30. Okay, so if we combine those two together now, 28 plus 2 is 30. And now we have subtract 2, add 4 that just comes down. Subtract 2, add 4. Okay, now if I do 30 minus 2 in my head, I'll just get back to 28, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to rearrange it. I'm going to add 30 plus 4. And I get 34. And then I'm going to subtract 2 from it to get 32. My opinion, that's much harder. Okay, so I'm not going to concentrate on that one at all. I'm going to do the other version. Okay, now this side, the right-hand side, is steps for you to do, or problems for you to do. So again, I would pause the video right here, do yours, and then come back and see if you got the same thing I did. Okay, so personally, I choose the number that is closest to 10. Okay, so I'm going to choose the 9. So 9 is close to 10. I'm missing 1, right? So if I were to add 1 to it, I would get 10. But I'm going to take that 1 away from the 7. So 7 needs to equal these two numbers. So 6 plus 1 is 7, right? So now I have my 7 add 9. Okay. So now these two give me 10. Add 6. It's going to be 16. And putting my equal signs in there to show that they are equal all the way down. Okay, if we did it the other way and did the 7 instead of the 9, let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so we need to add 3 to 7 to get to 10. So if I take 3 away from the 9, I'd have 6 left, right? So here is your 9. Here's the 7. But I'm going to regroup it when I add it, and I'm going to do 10 add 6. So again, it's 16. Okay, is it necessary to do this on your own? Absolutely not. Is it necessary to learn how to do it for your class? Yes. Okay, so You do have to figure it out, but if you decide to keep it or not, that's up to you. Okay, let's do D. 28 is definitely closer to a 10 by adding, right? 13 is pretty close if I subtract 3, but I don't want to get into subtract. We're just going to do add. So 28, that's another reason why I don't like this, because this is the add objective and not the subtract one yet, okay? So let's rewrite it. We have 28 needs 2 more to get to 30, right? And we're going to take those 2 away from the 13, so I have 11 left. So there's my 13. 28 just came down. But now I'm going to regroup it, and I'm going to do 28 add 2 to give me 30, and then the 11 I haven't used, so 41. So my bet is that you're not doing this too much in your head. The mental math part is probably a little bit not happening, right? Okay, understanding what is happening is the important part here. Okay, example 2. Write 3 different ways that you can write each number as an addition of 2 whole numbers. How many different ways can you add 2 numbers to get 32? Okay. Now they did something weird, and I don't agree with it, but that's all right, because they said 3 different ways that you can add 2 numbers. But they have 3 there, don't they? They cheated. Okay, so we're going to add a third one that, to me, fits their rules. So the first one you can see up here, it's 30 plus 2. And 30 is 20 plus 10, and there's your 2. And then they've regrouped it to get 12 here. Okay, so here's 2 numbers, 30 plus 2. Here's 2 numbers, 20 plus 12. So what if I did 10 add 22? There's a third way. Try to use a multiple of 10 as your first number, and then whatever the other one is gives you your second whole number. Okay, so pause it here and do B. Okay, so 46, I'm going to break it into tens and ones. 40 plus 6, totally easy. Okay, whoops. So 46 is equal to, what if I did 20 as my first number? First number should be a multiple of 10. So how many do I have left? 26. Okay, what if I did 10 first? Then I would have 36 left. Now I'm going to give you one more option. I know it's more than 3, but maybe you didn't have those 3, so here we go. If I take 30 away from that, I have 16 left. And if you notice, 1 plus 3 equals 4. 1 plus 3 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And the 6 just carries down, right? Okay, it didn't say in the examples that you needed to have one of them be a multiple of 10. So if you did, I don't know, 45 plus 1, is that correct? Yeah, it is according to what they're talking about. But it's not going to help you too much with what they're trying to explain, if that makes any sense. It doesn't fit the objective by decomposing into tens, but it does fit their directions. So we're not going to worry about this one. Okay, this is just some definitions here. So when you add 2 or more numbers together, the result is called a sum. The numbers that are being added are called addends. Okay, and then they have these 2 blanks in your lecture notes. So let's write a definition for both of these kind of in our own words instead of their words. The way I have always defined sum is the answer to an add problem. So does that fit what they said? When you add two or more numbers together, the result is a sum? Yep, that's the answer to an add problem. Okay, and an addend is, well, I was going to say the number, but let's say a number. A number in a problem that is being added to another. Now, if you have another way of writing it and you don't want to use my wording, that's fine, but just make certain that it fits the definition. Oh, wow, that's messy. Let's try that again. Okay, and this is it for objectives 1 and 2. So check out the next video for the next objective.